What's poppin', what's poppin', what's poppin'? It's your boy, man, back at it with a banger, baby. Now, before we fully jump into this video, I want to take you guys with me to experience something that is honestly super exciting for me. I'm about to pick up a car I've wanted for quite some time now, baby. Let's get it. Come on. All right, so check it out, you guys. We brought sushi. We're already low-key smashing on this in the car, but we brought the sushi. We got the homie chilling with us. He's exhausted, guys. It's literally closed already, bro. The dealership is done. It's 8 p.m. They close at 8 p.m. It's like 8:30. Oh my God. This almost doesn't feel real, you guys, but we're getting a 2025 M3 comp with xDrive. Now, the only thing this car doesn't have that I want is the bucket seats, okay? It is missing buckets, but it has everything else I really wanted in the car. And the bucket seats, I mean, that's something I could add on. And I probably will get that ordered up here pretty soon. But, bro, like, what? What? So here's a cool little side-by-side for you guys. What we started with and where we're at. And honestly, bro, shout out hella Slump, baby, because this would not be possible without hella Slump. This was like sponsor money, bro. Like constantly doing work for other people, growing other people's companies. This was starting my own company. You know what I'm saying? This is just straight up proof, baby, that there's no better way than having your own brand, having your own company. This is the way to do it, man. As long as you're working for somebody else, you're always going to be limited in life. This is crazy. And as usual, I just got to the airport and my flight's already boarding, so let's see if we make it. I swear to God, you guys, I do this shit every single time. So how do you build $1 million cannabis brand? We got Faded Marky in the building. What's going on, man? So Faded Marky hasn't made a ton of content in a while now, but what a lot of people don't know is that he's doing a ton of work behind the scenes, you know, and we're actually gonna go look at a potential location today to open up a shop, a dispo. Now, this is actually something that growing up, I always wanted to do. Like, I genuinely always thought one day I want to own a dispensary, right? And as I've grown up and as you start looking at the cost of a license and you start looking at the cost of even having a rent payment for one of these places, you realize that there's a lot of money required to run a facility, and it's not as simple as people think to actually make it profitable. Like, it's probably the most difficult part is to make it profitable with all the expenses and the overhead that come with running a shop, you know? And yeah, what's your opinions on it, bro? What do you think about like where the market stands right now when it comes down to trying to open a dispensary?
Bro, it's a process, especially right now in the market right now, you guys. We're at like an all-time low, but the whole entire economy is kind of crashing. So if you try to start a dispensary now, then any time before, it's going to be harder than ever. Right. But once you're able to acquire any type of licensing, you guys, then basically you're on the right track, and all that it's going to take is a little bit of money and funding, and then you're good to go. Yeah.
And then as far as branding goes, when you start a dispensary, it's probably one of the most crucial parts to making it successful, because if you go on Weed Maps or if you just go down a street where you see multiple dispensaries, for the most part, not all of them have unique branding, you know, not all of them know what's going on, what street brands are cracking, what, you know, what the market is basically demanding as far as hype goes, because I feel like we're in an industry where hype matters a lot, and people are definitely willing to pay the extra dollar if they believe in your brand and they believe in the quality of your brand, you know, because I remember the first time I bought a $400 ounce, right? And I remember being like, dude, this is absolutely insane. I can't believe I'm paying this much money for an ounce. I mean, I was coming from a world where like $150, $200 was really steep for an ounce. But I kind of understood it in a way. I was like, okay, I get it. It is definitely a very unique experience to smoke this. I mean, the quality of the smoke is completely different. The flavor profiles and the branding really sells you, because I'm positive if you took that same flower, took it out of its cool packaging and put it into a very basic mason jar, very basic bag, it wouldn't be as appealing, and you wouldn't probably want to pay so much money for it, you know? So branding is the key component in anything you do, bro. Whether you have a dispensary, whether you have an e-commerce online method of selling your product, or whether you're trapping, the only way you're gonna stand out in the game is by branding yourself. What do you think, bro, it roughly costs to open a dispensary right now in California, let's say?
Fuck, minimum $1 million, you guys.
At least. That's like bare minimum, right? That's kind of to keep the lights on, you would say?
Minimum for that'll keep the lights on for like 9 months to 12 months, you guys.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't make any money in those 9 to 12 months, you guys are fucked.
Business is closed.
You're out of money.
What advice do you have for anybody right now? Let's say, you know, they're working their 9 to 5, maybe they saved up some money, and this is something they're interested in doing. What kind of advice do you have for them?
Bro, life, it's not about what you have, you guys. All life comes down to is who you know. And like, just build your network every single day. If you work a day job, try to meet new people as much as you can, you guys, because eventually you're going to meet the right person who's going to set you up in the right place and put you in the position for you to win. You feel me?
Oh, you hit that on the spot, bro. I was literally just talking to somebody about that yesterday. I was like, it's all about who you know. All it takes is meeting one person to completely change your life around. Oh, what up, my guy? How you doing, bro? Good to see you. Marky in the building, man. We got the headquarters here, you guys. Dude, have you done anything to that room? Or does it stay the same? Yeah, bro, look at this. This is kind of cool. Check this out. We're just talking about branding. Ooh, this is sick.
I just filmed some stuff. It looks like somebody else just filmed some stuff in here too. But
oh, yeah.
I was in here the other day and I did like some stuff that we're trying to do, like TV commercials now.
Oh.
See how that goes.
Nice. Okay, cool, man.
Looks like they did some Easter or something.
How's LA been treating you?
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I stay super busy while I'm out here. I don't like having to drive all around it. You know,
yeah.
It's the traffic sucks too. But.
You got the Base Smokes pound bags. Look at the branding, bro. Everything is branded. You got the pillows branded. You got the backdrop branded. You got absolutely everything branded, bro.
When you're doing any type of like content stuff, I mean, you know more than anything. It's like, you know, the more you can just like brand like all over the place, like some little clip might go viral or whatever, and now our logo's in it, and it's that much more advertising.
So like for the people that don't know you, you want to just like introduce yourself, tell them like what you do?
My name is William Goodall. I started Base Smokes 5 years ago. And since then, I mean, I guess really 7 years ago, I got into the hemp space right when the law passed. But 5 years ago is when we started Base Smokes. And yeah, since then we've been growing at first as an e-commerce company. Then we became wholesale distributors of packaged product. We did white labeling, so we operate a bunch of other brands as well. We have a bunch of brand partnerships, including Slump, that, you know, Luis and I are partnered together on. And we have Little Baby's line as well. So I run the Wham brand. And we're kind of involved in like all bulk distribution of cannabis products, like in general. Like there's just everything cannabis now we're starting to do, but from the online sales side, because that's kind of like my background.
Online sales. So back in the day, that wasn't a thing. Like you just talked about right now. You got in it when the law passed. Yeah. So you want to break that down to them a little bit, like how that change happened?
Yeah, I mean, right when the so 2018, like December was when the Farm Bill passed, and that's what like allows us to do what we're doing. And at that time, I was in college. I was in my first year of college. I was watching a bunch of kids at Arizona State, where I went, all doing e-commerce stuff and seeing like young people being really successful, driving sports cars and stuff, and just being like, oh shit, like it's going to take me like 12 to 15 years to get a sports car going through this college route. Like I got to figure out this e-commerce thing, because it seems like a lot of kids are making money with it. So I kind of started in on that, drop shipping different things. I made like little bits of money, but then I was like, really determined to build something that I could like, okay, it's not just a transaction that I'm trying to like profit off of. This is the marketing cost, this is the profit per unit. I wanted to build a brand that it's like, even though whatever the profit is per unit, like I'm building something up more and more over time. And I was really like not sure what I wanted to build a brand around. I was really interested in plant medicine and like just some sort of consumable products that's like you could sell somebody something that they'll want to keep coming back to buy more of. And like I've smoked weed my whole life. And then so kind of this is being like the preface of it. When I saw the Farm Bill pass, it's like, holy shit, like I used to smoke CBD when I was in high school because I got 12 concussions. And so CBD would like completely take away my concussion headache. And so I saw the Farm Bill pass for CBD and I was like, wow, like this is the perfect opportunity to get into the cannabis industry, which, was like a dream. I never even thought like, I was like such a, like, no, that's probably not a thing it wasn't like something that I thought about until I saw this. And then it's like, wow, this is like a real route. I could get into I could get in the cannabis industry doing this, and then hopefully one day eventually it transitions and then it's like regular weed. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we went from CBD tinctures to Delta 8 vapes to then THCA flower as soon as that became a thing. I mean, that's regular cannabis, the same that you get at a dispensary. So this is now like absolute dream come true, and it's, I just grind it out like from the start of like, we'll see where this goes and just hope for the best.
Now, like as you mentioned earlier, you work and you've built multiple brands at this point. It started as a brand and you did partnerships and you started growing and expanding from that route. Like, what piece of advice do you have for people when it comes down to branding in this space? Because I was just telling them how basically that is really the biggest determining factor with like relevance and the effect people have when they do try a certain product, or if they're being told this is $400 an ounce, and if it's branded appropriately, it's like people are more receptive to it, or they're like, you know what, this is worth $400 to me. So I guess my question is, what piece of branding advice do you have for somebody who wants to get into this space?
I mean, honestly, that's a great question. I don't even claim to be a branding professional. I'd say the biggest like success that I've had in the branding sphere is by partnering with the right people. And like, honestly, you were the first person that I partnered with where it's like you were like getting on me so much about all the little different details. Like, oh, it's got to be like this, and we got to have this, and we get like all the different things. And like, you just kind of forced me to kind of go through this with you. And then that forced me to be like, shit, I got to do this with Base Smokes and like everything else. And since then also like partnering with like the Wham people, the guy, so Wham, I mean, is Little Baby, of course, but he has somebody on his back end as well that's like the mastermind packaging, branding, like world builder behind that brand. And I've learned a lot, I guess, kind of watching him and then other people along the way too, of like, how valuable that is to kind of just build that world. And like right now, I guess the world that I'm trying to build with my brand is like kind of telling people the story behind, this law, which still so many like smokers don't know, and how this law is like what every stoner has like been praying for. It's like, look, weed is federally legal already, and you don't need a crazy license to get into the game. Like there's a lot of like people that I've seen start up dispensary smoke shop chains with like less than 20 bands like out the door to start their shop, and now they're like, this one customer of mine started with like $8,000 or $10,000, and now he's got like 15 stores. He's ordering hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from us, and he's crushing it. He like got AP dripped out, like everything. And so this is like the dream come true for most people. And branding is like also, I mean, just get started, because at the beginning my packaging sucked, the website sucked, it all looked so terrible. And people still bought from me because I don't know why. It looked super sketchy, but they bought from me, and like, thank God they did, because, it's like we were able to kind of just keep building from there. And like, even still to this day, it's like as a business owner, you just constantly are like, you're always looking at what you have, everything that you're doing, and like thinking, how do I keep improving it?
Yeah. I think even like beyond the branding, because you're right. When I remember the initial packaging and everything, I was just like, bro, this dude just fucking put a bag. I got any bag he could and just started throwing product in there and started selling this thing. And even like you in general, I feel like you really don't care much for like designer brands and stuff like that. I feel like every time I see you, you got a Base Smoke shirt, a Base Smoke hoodie, the Base Smoke shorts, and like that's like your day-to-day like fit, But like, so you're saying partnerships, right? And that's something obviously I haven't broke down to them, right? But when it comes down to that, right? Like, let's say for me in my situation, I thought I was very fortunate. I got to meet you, and like you gave me a huge opportunity, of course. But like, let's put the average person. Let's say somebody who's working their job, then they've saved up money over time. They got $30K or something, right? Like saved up, whatever. What advice would you have for them if they wanted to do like the e-commerce side of things?
So the e-commerce side of things is really difficult because marketing is the most important factor of it. Obviously, you also have to have like an amazing kind of back end. So, anytime you sell something to anybody online, especially a consumable, like your service has to be amazing. You have to, when they place the order, you have to ship it out fast. When they have a problem and somebody emails customer support, you have to respond fast. So it's like, you kind of have to have all these systems set up as just like this is like the requirements to start the game. And when you're at the beginning, like I had my sister-in-law hired and she did like all of customer support, and we used like a third-party warehouse for fulfillment, and like they weren't always perfect, and so there was problems there. And customer support, like same thing. It's like, okay, well, I had my sister-in-law doing like wearing like 10 hats of the business at the start of it. So it's like, yeah, well, she wasn't always able to quickly respond to everybody, but I mean, ultimately, if you can find a good way to market your products and get people to the website, and that when they buy it, you know, even if it's a couple days delayed, or even if the customer support is a little bit slow to respond, as long as they get a good product at a good price, that's what's super important. Yeah. And then, you know, as you kind of get going, you can evolve the whole, like, you know, like I said, it's like I'm 5 years deep into base smokes, and every single day there's still things that I like want to tweak and improve and stuff, but it's just like a never-ending journey of like how do we keep improving the thing.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, marketing is the most important.
Marketing, you know, and that's, I think, how I kind of met you. You were very dove into marketing and like continuously putting your money back into your brand. I thought it's one thing I learned from you a lot. It's like whatever money you get, like keep dumping it back in, keep flipping it, basically, you know?
All the money that like I ever made off, I mean, I still don't take a lot of money out of base smokes just because it's like all I want to do is keep growing this brand. Like I see the future of weed, and like, you know, we're still just getting started, because like think about the THCA market. Like right now in the US, it's like there's the recreational medical category, there's the black market, and then there's like the hemp market.
Right.
The black market has been the biggest, and obviously, you know, the medical recreational is like slowly growing and being part of that. But hemp, and especially ever since THCA, hemp is now the fastest growing thing, way faster. It's taking from the black market, of course, but also from the medical and recreational side, because people are going over here. It's like, look, I mean, the medical and recreational systems suck. Like there's so much like gates in between the product and the consumer, and it's not gates. Like it's like with the guise of like, oh, to protect the consumer, but like the real truth is that it's just like, so the people regulating it can like charge this % here and that % there, and like there's all these loops and hurdles that every step along the way the brand has to pay, and ultimately it's the customer that has to pay because the price goes higher, and there's like 30% tax in Cali or whatever, and like all the prices that need to be as high as they are just because of all the extra steps along the way. Where, you know, on the hemp side, we can go from harvest to package to get it out the door to a customer, and get it to a customer with like a much fresher product, much faster than on the other side. So, and then on the black market side, why the hemp side is better than that is like, okay, well, you're buying something from a lab test from a brand who has something to lose. There's recourse if we do something wrong. There's no recourse if your drug dealer does something wrong. You know?
Yeah,
you call the cops on him.
I keep telling people, I'm like, at this point, there's really no need to have to trap. I mean, like, there's with this here, it's like, you know,
you should start a legal THCA dispensary. You know, it depends on what state you're in, but most states it's totally acceptable. And like I said, my buddy that's a customer of mine, $8,000 was his first store, and it was like literally just a 400 square foot retail location, and he posted on Instagram all the fucking time. He's like spam posting as much as he can on Instagram, and that got him started. And he's making a lot of money now. So it's like, anybody who's doing this, stop trapping illegally, get an LLC. Even if you can't even afford to open up a store first, and you literally just like buy a pound and fucking get a hemp labeled bag, and you're trapping eighths or whatever, you might as well be doing that under an LLC, properly reporting your sales, like collect sales tax, pay sales tax, do all that stuff, and now you're a legal hemp operator. It's like there's no reason anyone needs to be going to jail anymore for cannabis, because it's all federally legal, and there's a way to do it. And the more we can get people doing this and paying their taxes and everything, the more it's like a clear argument to keep it legal and like just, hey, this is the system.
Yeah, and then like, what about like from a legal perspective, right? Because I think there's a lot of fear in this space in general because it's been so taboo for so long. Like with lawyers, bro, like would you say that's a big part of your money you invest into constantly, or you had to at some point? What advice do you have from like the legal end for people to do it right, I guess, you know?
So, I mean, that's kind of the thing about the hemp side is the hemp legal side is really simple and straightforward. Like there's a pretty clear outlined rules and regulations of what's considered hemp. And then there's a lot of area on top of that where it's like, this isn't law to do, but it's like, okay, this next phase of the industry is we're going from like, they made a law that didn't really have a lot of restrictions. So it's really easy to get in and get started. Like the licenses, generally speaking, like to grow hemp is usually like a couple $100 like per year, like it's super cheap. And the licenses to distribute or be a retailer, like every state has their own license, but typically, like I said, it's like a couple $100. So it's really not hard to get it. Anyone can get it. I don't even think there's requirements like how like sometimes you can't get it if you're a felon, or you can only get it if you're a felon for weed, or like there's all these different stuff. It's like with hemp, there's really not that stuff. So the licensing is way simpler to do. The restrictions are way easier to follow because it's really just about the lab test, and that wherever the sourcing is from, that person has a hemp license. So like someone has to grow it with a hemp license, and then follow the local rules and according to like who has to have a license, maybe to transport it or to package it or to sell it. But those are all pretty simple licenses, and it's really just the one test. The above and beyond is like, okay, how do we take this industry to the next level in terms of like showing that, like legitimizing it? And that's like, okay, now let's go ahead and do the extra testing, like the metals, pesticide, like terpenes, and like let's make sure that the way that we're labeling it is like the same way that a dispensary would label it. So that it's like people have the information of like when was it harvested or when was it packaged, that sort of thing, and then the terpene percentage, So how do we go above and beyond what the actual restrictions are? But like in terms of lawyer fees, it's like, I paid a lawyer to kind of set up, and like I pay lawyers to like audit our stuff consistently, because like the size we are now, that's more so what it is like, we just want to just continuously be auditing ourselves to never have to be in a problem situation. And then, the biggest like expense of this on this side is like when you get product confiscated, and like that's kind of the nature of this space where it's like a gray area, because the rule is like so simple. It's simple to kind of go and get started, but like if your product gets confiscated in the mail, for example, like they can kind of just take it, and then like if they test it and they say that it didn't pass or whatever, versus you have the test and it's like, look, when I harvested it, it passed. This is totally good and compliant. Well, it's like their test versus your test, and these tests aren't accurate. Like a test for like a percentage of THC, the whole law says it has to be under 0.3, but like these machines aren't accurate to 0.3. Like you could test the same thing 10 times, and one might be 0.2, one might be 0.5, 0.4, 0.35. Like it's like you're relying on a machine that's not that accurate to test a number that's pretty much arbitrary, but it's like it's defined. So you can lose a lot of money by getting product confiscated because they tested it and they said it's one thing versus the other. So that's the biggest losses that we've taken, like legal fees.
Yeah, so with that being said, I would think like it is definitely still possible to start a cannabis brand today, and like I was just talking to them about how growing up and then always wanting a dispensary, and then you grow up and you realize how much it costs, and you realize that like you could be fortunate in certain ways, and but it's very expensive, and you're kind of like, unless I'm in a very strong position to do this, the average person would struggle significantly. Like you'd need a very strong network or something to get something like that rolling. But it is very tangible and it's very real. So I actually yesterday ended up getting the car I wanted a while back. You remember I called you like a year ago, and I was like, well, should I get this car? I finally got it yesterday, man. And it was like one of those like moments where I was just kind of like, so I had both my cars, right? The car I was driving before and this one, and I was like, this is sponsor money. Like this is like having ownership in a brand, like a complete 180, I guess you could say, as far as that goes. But shit, I hope that inspires you guys one so big. Maybe it's not a car, maybe you want something else. I don't know what it is, but I think that to me was just a moment of realizing that it really doesn't matter. Like anything and everything is absolutely possible, and it definitely starts with like what Will said, just taking action. Like even if it's not perfect initially, because I would say we had some hiccups when we started Hella Slumped, and it was a learning lesson consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it only gets better with time. So I think not giving up and just being like consistent with it is probably like the number one factor that's going to determine whether you're successful or not successful at the end of the day,
Like people always see like somebody's success and they want to boil it down to like, oh, it's because this, that, or the other. It's like, no, in most cases, it's probably just because that person grinded for 5 or 7 or 10 years, and you maybe just are seeing like the last like this part of their journey, because that's when they like had that takeoff moment, but they weren't able to have that takeoff moment. And, you know, it's because they grinded for so long in advance.
And then ultimately, that's kind of like my last question. Where do you think, like, per se now with the THCA space, where do you see it going? Like, you know, I know September, they're like revising some stuff, or they're supposed to be, right? Like,
yeah, in terms of on the federal level, I'm not sure that we're going to see drastic changes yet. I think it's maybe still some time away, like, you know, 2 to 5 years before there's like federal changes. On a state-by-state level, there's a couple states, like Tennessee, unfortunately, just banned THCA sales in the state. There's the only other one that's like debating right now is Texas, but truthfully, I think that that'll go in our favor because, I mean, you know, we're spending a shit ton of money on lobbying, and then every major hemp brand in the space also is kind of part of our group that is spending money to lobby to keep the laws the way that they are. So hemp is legal. So, I mean, because this side has gotten so big and we're able to spend lots of money on lobbying, I think it'll stay the way that it is. And I really just kind of hope that we see like a better transition of, you know, this being what legal cannabis looks like. And it's just kind of solidified to kind of make it like so that we're not operating in this gray zone, and I can't have like, you know, product just gets seized from me in transportation. Like, you know, imagine like I'm a t-shirt business and I'm shipping my load of t-shirts from one state to another state's warehouse, and they just confiscate $1 million worth of my t-shirts and just like, we don't like these t-shirts, we're just going to take them. It's like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're just interrupting my legal business and robbing me of $1 million. And like, that's a thing that, you know, this side has to deal with now. And so it's like, that's what I'm hoping is just like that kind of, you know, risk factor can get eliminated, and, you know, the industry keeps going up and up more, and like it's, you know, more education for consumers and what, but I feel like this is kind of like the path to federal legalization as opposed to it's like some loophole that's going to get shut.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say this because obviously, you know, ever since I was like probably like 13, 14, I've been in this space doing my thing and like seeing the changes. You just got to go with the changes. Like you got to consistently adapt.
You just got to have balls. Like, but that's the thing is like anybody who's in this industry at this phase of it, it's because you have balls, you really love the plant. And honestly, it's not like, oh, it's because this is the best opportunity to make money. It's like knowing what I know now as an entrepreneur, I would have much rather sold literally any other consumer packaged good product or any like a t-shirt business. Like I said, like there's so many other ways to make money. It's not like this is like that crazy of a thing. It's like there's a lot of work, a lot of headache, a lot of stress. Yeah, there's a lot of reward though too, in the sense of like, you know, because it takes so much to deal with all that. There's not a lot of people willing to put in all that work. So that's kind of where it's at.
It's the nature of the beast. It is one of those stressful businesses that if you don't love it, it's going to 110% burn you out. You know what I mean?
Always
it will 110%
walls
burn you out.
crashing down. Like it's, yeah, you're losing your shit on like a weekly basis usually. So.
Oh, yep. It's like almost like when people ask me about being a YouTuber, I'm like, well, what's the best advice to be a YouTuber? I'm like, don't be a YouTuber. That's my best advice because this shit is hard. There is no guarantee. There is no structure for this, bro. You are not really protected that much. It's just like
and it can all disappear.
It disappears in a heartbeat, out of your control, and you're just gotta go with the flow, bro. You gotta go with the flow and adapt, constantly adapt. And if you don't adapt, you get left behind. You know what I'm saying? So. It was great advice. Appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? As always. And, yeah. All right, yeah. So this is a potential dispensary location. Let's check it out.
Maybe you would do it here.
Oh, build the lobby all the way out here?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And then just less shop space?
what do you mean shelf space?
Oh, like, and then they shop back here?
No. Like the back is like the back end. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
have to like keep
yeah. Oh,
product
yeah.
and shit. Like if you make the retail spot more of just like an
Yeah,
open area and like maybe it's I don't know, what can you do about consumption?
Consumption? That's like, you got to get a different license for that, right? Because it's like a lounge. There are lounges, though. Because I just went to one in San Francisco. There are lounges. You could smoke weed by weed.
Daily Hiker.
Yeah.
He was just telling me that the place that he considers here is like the best consumption lounge. It's called like Woody something. The Woods.
The Woods. Dude, I think the location is crazy.
Like, you just have to have grab and go stuff because of all the fast food. If you have grab and go weed available here, like we would sell dime bags out the fucking wazoo.
This is pretty sick. Dude, the location, I'm not gonna show nothing outside, but the location outside is crazy. It's literally crazy. So much traffic. Ultimately, to conclude this video, I'm gonna say this. If you want to build a brand in the cannabis industry, the biggest things you need to focus on is branding and marketing. Now, branding, obviously, you have to be unique, you know, maybe you get a little bit of inspiration from what's out there, but really you have to think outside of the box. The marketing, that's where you really got to have fun with it, because every single platform you try to market on is going to make it extremely difficult for you because of the niche that we are in. This niche specifically is very hard to market because it's very censored, and ultimately you got to get very smart and think outside of the box, like I just said previously, when it comes down to marketing. But anything and everything is absolutely possible. Get yourself a notebook, write it down, believe it, and manifest it, man. Make sure you guys hit the like on this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know down below in the comment section. As always, Google Hello Slump, baby. Let's get it.